Let me read this to you. When confronted, admit nothing, deny everything, demand proof, make counter allegations, accuse someone else. That's exactly what they've done. And that's exactly what they continue to do.
Yeah, by the way, that mantra is the entire Democrat Party as well.
It is. 51 former Intel officials must be stripped of their clearances. Must be. Why? Oh, by the way, John Brennan, former head of the CIA, James Clapper, former head of the NSA, and who assisted in the Russia hoax along with John Brennan. Remember the whole Russia hoax scandal with Christopher Steele's dossier, and Clapper went running over to CNN after a January 2017 briefing on this fake dossier that they knew was fake, that those guys, those same guys that were involved with that leaked the story to CNN and BuzzFeed, that released this crazy, wacky, completely dangerous dossier about our president, President Trump back then, are the same guys and the same people that were involved in the Hunter Biden laptop lie as well. These people are utilizing your tax dollars that you have given and you have entrusted into our intelligence agencies to train our intelligence officers to protect us against adversaries of the United States. Instead, they are using your money to run operations against you. That's what they're doing, against you and who you are voting for. And not only are they doing that, they're going even further. They're saying if you disagree with them and how they believe this nation should be run, that you are now an enemy of the state. Yes, you are. If you're a military person, if you're part of our military and you don't agree with the Biden administration, if you challenge them, if you like the Second Amendment, you love the Second Amendment, you never want to give it up, you believe in guns, I've got weapons. Yeah, if you are that person, you become a potential threat and problem to the state. Are we a republic anymore? What are we? Do we have a constitution anymore? What do we have? Now we have these 51 former intelligence officials, John Brennan, Clapper included, and a bunch of others, of course, who are making boatloads of money because they hold security clearances. And they use those security clearances to line their pockets and continue to run operations against you. That's what they do. And right now we have an opportunity to expose them. We have an opportunity to expose them and to hold them accountable. They run this country, and yes, they do, as a shadow government, because our Department of Justice is not doing anything to hold them accountable for what they did to us, the American people, and a duly elected president, or what they've done in the scheme of things since 2016, since President Trump became president of these United States, and then he lost in 2020, but they haven't stopped. They continue to target him and everyone around him. Why? Because one, that laptop was election interference. It was exactly what they wanted to do. They knew that the laptop was real. The laptop from hell. Thank you, Miranda Devine. Great title for a book, Laptop from Hell. They knew that laptop was real with all of the evidence in there against Hunter Biden and his dad and his family, and then all the grotesque things that Hunter Biden did, with prostitutes and everybody else that he wanted to videotape on there, and God only knows. They knew that was all true, but they told you it was a lie. They said that this was Russian disinformation. What it was they were operating like the Russians. That's what they do. They are operating with impunity. They know no one at the Department of Justice is going to hold them accountable. They don't care. They have the power because they have the power of the intelligence apparatus and the power of the purse. and the power of the purse. When they lied to you, when they withheld information, when they told the American people that big fat lie, the biggest lie of all, that laptop was actually Russian, it wasn't real. They denied you the opportunity to know the truth. And they tried to quiet down Miranda Devine. They tried to put the clamp, and they did, on the New York Post. They used Twitter, back then Twitter, to do what they wanted to do, to try to withhold information from you. They made it seem like Republicans or conservatives or anybody, independents, even Democrats that believed it, that information that we were trying to tell to you, they said it was a lie. And they got involved in the election. That is what they are doing now, too, in 2024. Hunter Biden is everything the New York Post claimed he was. He was a drug addict. He is a deadbeat dad. He's a spoiled brat who used his father's name to get rich by selling influence. In a sane world, these 51 former intelligence officials would be publicly humiliated and forced to hand over their clearances. Instead, many of these officials have cashed in. Like I said, they're making so much money, millions of dollars. And they spent the last 4 years continuing to target President Trump and his supporters on MSDNC and CNN. In America, actions should have consequences. They should, because we are supposed to be a nation based on justice. Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, but she is not. She is being controlled and operated by a deep state swamp that has grown out of control. And God help us if we don't regain control of this out of control locomotive. God help us. In America, again, actions should have consequences. And on today's show, I'm talking with Arizona Representative Andy Biggs, and we are breaking down his legislation, listen to this, to strip the clearances of these agents and how we can clean up our intel agencies before they interfere with more elections. But first, MyPillow, folks. When Mike Lindell first launched MyPillow, it was solely a solution for one problem. But with the dedication of his team, they've expanded their offerings to include hundreds of products. And you can get them right now because they are hosting a $25 extravaganza going on now. And listen to this current offer. Use promo code Carter, CARTER, at mypillow.com to get the sale price and free shipping on any order over $75. Here are some of the products available for only $25. 2-pack MyPillows, MyPillow sandals, luxurious 6-pack towel sets, and brand new 4-pack dish towels. And you know those little doggy beds, the one that Macy Daisy loves so much that she sleeps on underneath my desk? Yes. $25. Go to mypillow.com or call 1-800-685-7221 today to get in on the $25 extravaganza today. Be sure to use code Carter to get the sale price and free shipping on your order over $75. Call 1-800-685-7221 or go to mypillow.com, promo code Carter. Again, mypillow.com, promo code Carter. I've got Andy Biggs on. He represents Arizona's 5th District in the U.S. Congress. Congressman, last week, and you're one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I love to have you on the show.
Thank you. Well, I love to be with you, Sarah. Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I mean, we were just saying that, I had too much headspace. And my producer was asking me to bring the camera down a little bit. And that actually makes me have a pinhead, not a big head. But I was saying if John Brennan was on here, he would just take up the entire area. It's like the weirdest head I've ever seen. He's got like the biggest head on the planet, but I don't think that means he has the biggest brains. I really don't. I just think he's hard
absolutely.
like a rock.
Absolutely. I mean, if he was on, you just have 2 eyes and a couple of nostrils. I mean, that's what you would see. But no, I mean, in
it's terrifying. And it's terrifying.
He gives the term headroom a lot more, a different perspective, right? I mean, because
right. Right. And this is exactly why I brought you on, because not just here to bash on John Brennan's head. We're not just here to do that. We're here because you are on a mission, the same mission that I am on your team with this 100%. Last week you tweeted that you were bringing forward a bill that would strip the 51 agents. And I don't like saying agents. We have agents down here. Okay, let me explain the difference to everybody out here. And even to my producers, I will tell everybody. It's not agents, it's officers, because an agent works for the United States. That would be somebody that you get in a foreign country to basically spy for you. An officer is a U.S., somebody who is trained in the United States. That's somebody who is an intelligence operator, an intelligence operative. They would be actually an officer to that extent. It wouldn't be an agent. So we have 51 officers who signed the infamous Russia disinformation letter. Basically, you want to strip them of their clearances because they lied. This was the letter that basically claimed that Hunter Biden, his laptop was just Russian disinformation. We all know that is a lie. I knew that was a lie when they were signing that letter because I had seen information that proved otherwise. Miranda Devine wrote the great book, Laptop from Hell. It's phenomenal. She's with the New York Post. I love her. We all knew that laptop was real. Rudy Giuliani knew it was real. Everybody who came in contact with it knew it was real. Yet our intelligence apparatus decided to spread a lie. They ran an operation against you, the American people, and against Congress. They ran an operation because they are trained in the art of deception. And they used it not against an enemy, but they used it against you, the American people, and they should be stripped of their security clearances. Go ahead.
Absolutely right, Sarah. So just to set the context just a little bit more, don't forget this took place in the middle of an election, and their goal was to. You have this laptop, and as it's coming out, it's looking like there's just this tremendous corruption and bad acts on the part of the Biden family, particularly Hunter Biden, of course. But they want to suppress that because they believe that the election is going to be close. They want to change the outcome of the election. So in order to do that, they just fabricate a letter. They circulate a letter. They get all these people, Brennan, Clapper, these guys, and they sign on and say, hey, looks like Russian disinformation to us, all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. And so what happened? You remember people like Jake Tapper on CNN, all the left-wing media. They then started trying to suppress, the social media giants suppressed information about that laptop. Now, when it's all said and done, two things. Their polling is conducted after that election, and they're going out and they're asking people, and the majority of people say, gee, I wouldn't have voted for Biden had I known about this laptop and what was in it. That's number one. So it literally did change the outcome of the election. The second thing is we now have evidence and testimony that the FBI knew that was real from day one. They did nothing to alter it. They've not done anything to alter it today. You've got the experts from the FBI testifying to that under oath. We did nothing to change that, and we've known it was real all along. Well, then why didn't they put something out to say something? And so this is the weaponization. It's just utterly crazy. And also, since I'm trying to bring it back up and get it rolling again, these guys have been asked, do you have any regrets, especially after the testimony? They say, no regrets at all. And
they just said that 3 days ago. 3 days ago. They don't have any regrets, and they don't want to apologize.
Right, because, Sarah, that's what spies do. That's what the intelligence community does. They're experts at misinformation, disinformation, and moving people around. That's what they do. And so let me read this to you.
Let me read this to you. When confronted, admit nothing, deny everything, demand proof, make counter allegations, accuse someone else. That's exactly what they've done. And that's exactly what they continue to do.
Yeah, by the way, that mantra is the entire Democrat Party as well.
It is. We've just got to wear that T-shirt on the Hill every single day. You know what? You should get that. And every Republican should just wear that as you sit up there every single day. Democrats equal this, whatever it may be. Yeah. I think that would be a powerful statement. And just walk past Chuck Schumer. Oh, by the way, do we have that Chuck Schumer clip? Because I want to play this and then we're going to go into some really good, deep, detailed discussion about the intelligence community.
He's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
Wow.
That's a threat. That happened during the Russia hoax, Congressman Biggs. I'm going to tell you why I have been so jaded, and the American people, and a good reason why I've backed away from doing all of the in-depth investigations into opening my mouth and telling everybody how I feel. These guys know that they will never be held accountable. They do it with impunity. They do it in our face. They do it in your face. They do not care. They knew that Christopher Steele's dossier was a lie. Why did they know that? Because they helped put it together. They helped pay for it. They worked that operation against you and I, the American people. They worked that operation against us and against a duly elected president of these United States. And you know, when President Trump says, this really wasn't about me, this is about you, he was right. So every single day I'd go on TV, I'd tell Sean Hannity, I'd say, you know what? Because I'd just get off the phone at the DOJ and I'd say, somebody's going to pay the price, Sean. They would lie to me. They would lie to everybody. I don't want to speak for other people, but they lied to a lot of people. I'm talking about even under Bill Barr. Everybody said they were going to take care of business. We had proof that the intelligence community lied and nothing ever happened. And the American people were just sitting back going, okay, so what does this all mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're right to be frustrated and jaded, because I am frustrated and jaded myself. And so this is a small little thing that we can do. By the way, these guys that are retired or have left active service, they use the fact that they have clearance to make buku bucks on the side. And I will just tell you, too, I mean, I've really grown cynical, but I've been doing a lot of research going back. This is not new. This is not new for the intelligence community to try to manipulate the American public. It's just more overt now because we've got all kinds of social media. You got 24/7 news cycle. You've got an availability. There are more opportunities for them to manipulate Americans than ever before. And there are fewer in Congress, as far as I can tell, that want to hold these people accountable. And that's what's driving me nuts. Because when Chuck Schumer says they can come after you 6 ways from Sunday.
Why don't you guys call Chuck Schumer as a witness? I mean, it appears that he knows what they would be willing to do. Have they ever done it to him? Have they ever gone after him 6 ways to Sunday? Do they have any evidence against him about something he may have done? What about the fact that, and this is important, and I know you're one of the congressional members that understand this better than anyone else. I'd say Senator Rand Paul understands this. They have access to so much of our information. I mean, all they need to do, the spy networks are incredible. They could spy on judges. They could collect information on congressional members. They could collect information on reporters. They could do whatever. So what does Chuck Schumer mean? 6 ways to Sunday. Like, what does that actually mean? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Does it mean that they can target him, that they're going to use information against him? I think he should be a witness.
All of the above. It's right. All of the above. We're talking about the 51 and we're talking about the letter and the election interference. But don't forget, when I was doing the FISA, working for over, I don't know how many, over a year on FISA trying to get that reformed. And we actually have a good bill. All of a sudden, the speaker goes into a SCIF, a classified a compartmentalized room. And he comes out and he says, well, I'm scared now, so I'm not going to support what for 7 years he has supported. And so I just do a very simple one, a warrant requirement. A warrant requirement. Why not having a warrant requirement? You used to think so. So what happens the day we're supposed to have the vote? The day before we're supposed to have the vote, we have the votes lined up, bipartisan, ready to go. The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, a Republican, creates an international incident by claiming he's got new information about some threat to the United States. And so the speaker pulls the bill so we don't vote on it. That's how manipulative they are. They know it's no scruples, as far as I can tell. No scruples at all. And, we see it in Congress. We see it in the intelligence community. And now here's another one, Sarah, just along those same lines. Scott Perry. Now, Scott Perry, former chairman of the Freedom Caucus, general, military general, more than 30 years in the military, perfectly qualified to sit on the House Intelligence Committee. The speaker appoints him, and now Democrats and Republicans come unglued because now you have a member of the Freedom Caucus who actually is qualified to sit there and who's going to hold them accountable and ask hard questions. They want him off the committee, and who knows what's going to happen to him next. I mean, they've attacked him from the first moment he was named.
Where do you think this goes from here? How do we've got to get rid of this idea that just because you're part of the intelligence community, that you can run rickshaw all over everybody, do whatever you want. How do we get to a point, though, where our Department of Justice actually does what it's supposed to do and holds people accountable? Because if the DOJ is not holding people accountable in the United States of America, that's it. I mean, what does it say about our nation? I mean, we want to talk about banana republics. I mean, I talk to people overseas. I was just in El Salvador. I met with Nayib Bukele. I know how he feels. I know what he told us in meetings. What happens when the rest of the world looks at the United States and says, "Whoa, wait a minute. You guys aren't living up to the principles that were in your Constitution." And look at what's happening now.
Well, it weakens us entirely into the world. And when I'm just going to say this very clearly, when the U.S. is weak, whether it's on power, hard power, soft power, economically, on civil rights, when we are weak on that, the rest of the world is weak, grows weaker. It becomes a more dangerous place. And we will lose the moral high ground, and we'll create a vacuum. And the only agent right now, the only state that can fill that is China. And they're going to try to fill it. They were trying to fill it right now. And the reality is we have lost moral high ground. I mean, we've focused, our military is focused not on the mission of lethality, protecting this nation. It is focused on DEI, transgender surgery, abortion tourism, every woke program, Green New Deal. They want to have electric vehicle, EV type tanks and other armored
They want to
carriers.
give our troops fake meat. Fake meat. My husband just got a call from one of the reporters over at the Daily Callers working on a story on this. And my husband said, yeah, why doesn't, the Secretary of Defense feed his family fake meat, the whole year before he tries shoving it down our military's throat, And this is just, it's insanity, but they're not worried about our adversaries for some reason. They're not really worried about them.
You're going to see a grasshopper soup MRE coming your way soon. I mean, that's how bizarre and weird these people are. I mean,
they are. I'm drawing the line. I am drawing the line. I do not want to eat grasshoppers. I am drawing the line. Well, talk about grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers, you name it.
Speaking of grasshoppers, let's just talk about Santos for a minute, because this.
Oh, what a segue!
I was just segueing. It was a great bill. It's a great bill. Talk a little bit about how you got Santos's bill, and you took it over after he left.
Yeah. So it was a great bill. I think I was probably signed on to his bill. Now, by the way, I have to put in a plug for Santos. Santos was a good vote. Santos, he did what we're talking about. He stuck a finger in the eye of the elite of Congress, and that's why they felt like they had to get rid of him. But Santos was good. I mean, I talked to Santos very early on. I told Santos, here's the deal, George. They're going to come after you relentlessly. They already started. And I said, you can never give in to them, because once you give in to them a little bit, they own you. And He didn't. He fought him pretty hard. And so they threw him out. So he had this great bill that said, if you were on that letter of misinformation, of election interference, then you lose your security clearance. I love that bill. I think it holds somebody accountable. So after he was tossed out of Congress by the Republicans, not me, but other Republicans, we wanted that bill. So I had to call George and text him and everything, say, hey, look, it's a great bill. Can I carry? He says, sure, absolutely. Then I had to go to the floor and I had to make a motion to take over that bill. And the reason that we wanted, instead of just doing a brand new one, we wanted one that was already in the works and already assigned to a committee, so we can now push and try to advocate for the bill. And so that's what's happening. It's now my name, and we can go forward and do it. Now, the question, of course, is who's more loathed in Congress? Was it George Santos or is it Andy Biggs? We're not sure, but we're going after that and trying to get this thing done. And by the way, just serendipitously.
Are you worried? Are you worried about Chuck Schumer's 6 ways to Sunday? I mean, he looked like he knew something. You should just give Chuck a call. Say, you know what? I was on the Sarah Carter show. She replayed that clip. And I'm just wondering, I'm just curious, Chuck, what is it that you know that I don't know? What are they going to do? Because I'm pulling their clearances. I'm pulling them. We're going to find a way.
Here's the deal. I would tell you, you said, am I worried? They've already gone after me. I mean, I was speaking on Saturday. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Serendipitously, I just met the guy who used to work in George's office that actually drafted that bill, and he and I were talking about the bill.
Oh, that's so great.
I got back in town Saturday morning, and on my desk, I've got three letters from the State Bar of Arizona dismissing bar complaints. I didn't even know there were bar complaints. I know there's bar complaints against me. These people, they're filing bar complaints against me for my conservative values and positions, for taking on the elite. I have received grand jury subpoenas. They come after you every which way they possibly can. We know that. So am I nervous about it? If you stop because you feel concerned that somebody's going to tell you, you will never do it. And we've got to have people who are going to stand and push no matter what. That's why I'm glad Scott Perry's basically said, he's out there doing his apology tour to everybody. I'll work with you, but here's the deal. I'm going to be strong and I'm going to ask hard questions, and that's just the way it is. Hope you don't hate me enough to throw me off, because the Democrats have already said they want to throw Scott Perry off.
Right.
The moment he was, and so yes, Sarah, it's the weaponization. It's utterly, is it the IRS is going to come after you? Is it the ATF that's going to come after you if you own guns? Who's coming after you next? They are registering voters, Sarah. The Biden bureaucracy, they're registering voters. That's how corrupt these folks are.
Are you concerned about the endless flood of illegal immigration at the southern border? How about the $1 trillion being added to the national debt every 100 days? It's no wonder thousands of hardworking, patriotic Americans, including myself, are learning how to protect and diversify their retirement savings with precious metals. That's why I've partnered with the top-rated company Goldco. Listen to this. Get a free 2024 wealth protection kit and learn how to possibly get $10,000 in bonus silver as a listener of this show while supplies last. I say it over and over again. You gotta diversify. That is the most important way to protect your family. Don't put your eggs all into one basket. If you don't believe me, go out there and look for yourself. Protect your family's financial future and freedom. Get started today at Sara, SARA-likesgold.com or call 855-823-GOLD. Get your free gold kit from Goldco and learn how to get $10,000 in bonus silver. Sara, likesgold.com or call 855-823-4653. That's Sara, S-A-R-A, likesgold.com or call 855-823-GOLD. They really are, and it seems like even now Democrats want to label anyone who isn't thinking their way as like a threat to democracy. And that is really, I think, what's terrifying most people, like, parents at school board meetings, people who are in the military who don't agree with the Biden administration and its woke agenda. All of a sudden, they're a threat to democracy. If we stand up for, our rights as Americans to have our children be taught the way that we believe they need to be taught. Like, I don't want someone teaching my kids a woke agenda about whatever kind of bizarre, crazy, sexual stuff that they want to put in the. I don't want that. I want my children to be children. And yeah, I'm going to defend them with my life, and I'm going to do what I can for them. But this is like they're turning against America and against Americans and against what we stand for. And Americans are really concerned that these agencies, FBI, DOJ, CIA, ATF, which you brought up, they become so powerful that we can't even question election integrity anymore. We can't even bring it up. Just don't even bring it up, because then you're going to be a criminal.
Yeah, I mean, I was asked just last week and the week before by media saying, will you commit to sanction the election of 2024? And I said, hey, we don't know diddly poop about it. I said, how can you agree to do something? That's like saying, are you going to find somebody innocent when you sit on the jury panel before you actually hear the evidence? We've got to see what's going on. And
right.
And so you mentioned all these people. Don't forget the Catholics. I mean,
the Catholics.
Yeah. And
a priest was just arrested. A priest was just arrested for being outside of an abortion clinic. They just carried him off in Washington, D.C.
Face Act.
It was just, it's incredible to me. Like, you can't pray for unborn children. That's a crime now.
It's gotten so upside down. People are concerned about it. I mean, and rightfully so. I personally believe, so most Americans, the 80-20 issues are the border, economy, and inflation.
Right.
But I think at some point, people who are paying attention, a lot of people don't pay attention to this stuff like you and I do. When they realize what's happening in this country, they look at Donald Trump and it's like, if you could do that to the president, the former president of the United States, who can't you do that to? And the reality is, I don't know who you can't do it to, and we have got to stand up to him. And
what can we do? I mean, what can you do with this bill? It has to pass the House, then it has to go to the Senate. I mean, is it more symbolic? Because it would have to. Would it have to pass? It would have to pass Senate for you to be able to do this, right?
Yeah, it would. But here's the deal, and it's just like what I tell the speaker. I've told the speaker many times. Look, I'm going to fight on every front that I possibly can, wherever we can. Right. And we're going to lose 99 out of 100 battles, but we might win one. If lightning strikes, we might win two. But I would rather do that and win 1 out of 100 than surrender on everything and lose every time. And that's the point here. So if we can do this, and I'm asking to get it through the committee, put it to a floor vote, and let's see will Republicans do this in the House? I don't even know. But if Republicans do this in the House and get it out, then it goes to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have to answer, and the American people can come to their own conclusion. They can. I'm trying to get people beyond our base to understand how radicalized and how weaponized the intelligence community is and our own government is against them. And they're willing to absolutely just flat out lie to you to manipulate you.
I'm going to go, I promise to make this part faster, but I'm going to go to Merrick Garland because we have to. But I want you to take a look at this clip. This is a recent clip of my most unfavorite person of the FBI next to Comey, Andy McCabe, who is, a contributor for CNN. And this is how terrified he is apparently of President Trump coming back to office.
He is someone who's entirely transactional. And if he feels like he's been wronged in some way, then he focuses on revenge and vengeance. And so he's made it perfectly clear that that's what he's going to do. And in the process of seeking that, he is going to he runs the risk of really dismantling and greatly incapacitating the Department of Justice and the FBI. And that is something that Americans on both sides of the political aisle should be worried about. Yeah. We depend on those institutions to protect us.
Well, what do you think
and he is proposing to tear them down.
What do people inside the FBI think when they hear a comment like that?
It's terrifying. It's frightening. I have a lot of conversations with former colleagues, people who are or were in the intelligence and law enforcement community and may have worked in, the Obama administration, other places. And, people are really trying to assess, what is life going to be like if Donald Trump wins a second term? And on a very personal level, these are torturous discussions with their family members about whether or not they have to leave the country to avoid being unconstitutionally and illegally detained. People are actually worried about being thrown in jail or grabbed in some sort of extrajudicial detention. And I think, as crazy as this sounds in the United States of America, I think people should really consider that these are possibilities. Listen to what the man says. He typically does what he says, as crazy as it seems. And that's really all the indicators you need.
It's insane. It's exactly what they have been doing to us, the American people. It's exactly what they have been doing to President Trump and everyone who's his ally. Exactly what he said President Trump is supposedly going to do to the FBI and everybody in the intelligence community. It's a mind game. It's almost abuse. I wish they would leave the country. I really do. I want to buy them a one-way ticket. I told McCabe I would buy him a one-way ticket out of the country. I wouldn't charge him to just buy it for him. Goodbye. Good riddance.
So what I find to be really bizarre about that is if you have had an injustice perpetrated upon you, you seek justice.
Right.
You want equalization. That's a lot of people call that revenge. But you know what it is? It's what society has said for literally 6,000 years. It is justice. If you have committed a wrong, if you're in the FBI or the DOJ at any place, and you have gone off after innocent people, particularly for political purposes, but if you have abused your power and authority, and now you're scared to death that you might be held accountable for that, then they're going to say that's revenge. I call it accountability and justice. And that is what the rule of law requires. And when you have the rule of law in place, then you can have freedom. But when you don't have the rule of law in place, then you can never have freedom, because the bullies and the bad guys will always beat up on anybody who can't adequately defend themselves. They happen to pick the wrong guy because he had a deep pocket, Donald Trump.
Right.
And Donald Trump also has the mindset and personality to just say, forget it. I'm going to keep fighting you to take you on. But the bottom line is, the priest that you talked about that was hauled away. How about the grandmama who's praying in front of the abortion clinic? She gets 2 years in prison under the FACE Act. How about you start going down the whole litany of abuses that have taken place, the threats to us. People like me who went in and on January 6th had nothing to do with the riot. I stood up under the process that the Democrats had used every time that a Republican had won for the last 20 years. And we stand up and say, look, I got a problem, and I give you a constitutional argument. All of a sudden, I'm told I'm under surveillance, I am under investigation, and I could be detained at any time. And you see people like a Peter Navarro or Roger Stone. These guys, they're not a physical threat to anybody, but they show up with massive amounts of guns because they're trying to kowtow the public. I say it's time for justice and accountability.
Agreed. And not only are they trying to kowtow to the public and calling CNN and their friends there or friends at other media organizations to be there, they're sending a message. This is what communists do. Communist nations and dictatorships, they send a message to everybody else who's a friend or an ally of the person they are targeting. And they're saying, we're coming after you next. That's why we're sending an armada. We're sending a message, a threatening message. And coming from a guy like Andy McCabe, who, by the way, lied multiple times to the inspector general, was involved in the entire Russia hoax against the United States and the American people, and put a duly elected president's life in jeopardy with all of their lies, they should be scared because they are a shadow government against the American people. What do you think is going to happen with Merrick Garland? And and the House voting to hold Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. And now the DOJ is saying, nope, we're not going to do that. We're not going to prosecute Garland for handing over the Hur tapes.
Yeah, I've asked the speaker and have encouraged an appointment of a special House counsel. He has the authority. Our Republican leadership has the authority actually to do that without even getting a vote of the conference or the Congress. Hire counsel to actually go after and litigate civilly. And we don't get the pleasure or the justice. I don't know if it's pleasure because none of this gives me pleasure, but you don't get the justice on the criminal prosecution, but you can go after them civilly. And then Anna Paulina Luna's been doing, she's a member out of Florida. She's doing research, is proposing inherent contempt authority, which hasn't been used in 100 plus years out of Congress. But what it would do is require the sergeant at arms to go actually arrest. Now that's, you're gonna see some pretty amazing stuff if that were to take place. But I don't believe there's the will. I mean, sad to say, I just don't believe there's the will in Congress to actually hold everybody accountable. And you know what makes me say that? Because the first way to hold these people accountable was just in the budgeting and the appropriations and how you spend your money. You could go in and say, no new FBI headquarters. We're going to go through and say, Mayor Garland, we're going to remove you under the Holman rule. We're going to give you $1 salary. That's all we're going to give you because what you've done is, how about, people like Andy McCabe or others that are sitting in there, we're going to reduce your funding for $1. If you participated in the USSR style show trial that took place for Donald Trump, we're going to take away your funding. I've got 3 bills. I've got 3 bills dealing with defunding Alvin Bragg, Fani Willis, Jack Smith, and we can't get those to the floor. Russell Fry's got a bill also to hold accountability there, and needs to come to the floor. We're told that a few Republicans won't get there. This is where we are when I say we don't have the will, and I'm a big believer. At some point, you have to put this stuff on the floor and let the board of truth reveal to all of the American people, pro and con, left and right, where everybody is on these issues of our time.
How serious, and last question, how concerned are you about this upcoming election as far as if we don't make a significant change in this country, how dangerous will that be to our republic?
Well, I'm a total black pillar. I've swallowed a black pill a long time ago. If we don't change it, if it's not Donald Trump with a Republican House and Senate, we may see just this further encroachment of our rights. You're going to see the two things that happen whenever a great civilization falls. Number one, they lose control of geographic integrity. We've already lost control of that. Second thing is you lose control of your economic integrity. We've already lost that because we're $35 trillion in national debt. We have a structural deficit of $3 trillion every year. Last 365 days, we've added $3 trillion to our national structural deficit, and that's the problem that we have. Now, you add in the fact that Biden will then weaponize everybody. continue to go after people, that will move this woke agenda forward, this Green New Deal stuff forward. The world will descend into, quite frankly, a very chaotic situation. It just will, because under Donald Trump's first term, what happened? Stasis, and I won't know if I would say peace, but you have stasis throughout the world. Bad guys are intimidated. They know that the U.S. is back. It's strong. That's why they hate Donald Trump as much as the left does. I would tell you, and this is a long way, and I'm going to shorten that up and say, it would be disastrous for the United States of America not to turn everything over. And when I say turn it over, I mean, I anticipate 7 to 10 Republicans in the House as the advantage, maybe 2 or 3 in the Senate, and then hopefully it'll be Donald Trump. We won't get everything through, but we'll take care of the border. We'll take care of energy, so prices will come down. We'll take care of the criminality that's gone crazy. We'll strengthen the military, and we'll move away from the woke military and move to a more rational way. I don't think we'll do much in the form of spending because it's so much of it's on autopilot as we try to take it apart and dismantle it. But we only have 2 years to operate at that point, I believe. And if for some reason, heaven help us, Donald Trump gets in and Democrats control the House, they're going to impeach Donald Trump from day one. They've already said it. They're already ready to pre-impeach Donald Trump. They're ready to go. And that's why it's so imperative that we get everybody out to vote. I know people say, well, what about election integrity? Trump says too big to rig. I don't care what you say. We have to do all we can. The new RNC has filed 91 lawsuits to try to ensure integrity in elections. So, and they're going to file more. So we have to change it, Sarah. We have to change the direction we're in.
Absolutely agree with you. Everybody who's listening to this, you are part of the change. Every single one of us make a collective lot of us. And we've got to get out there and vote. It's got to be just too big to rig. And we've got to get out there and do everything we can to win our nation back. Thank you so much, Congressman Biggs. You're amazing. Love to have you back on the show. And I'm going to be following that bill very closely. We're going to be following who votes for it, who doesn't. What does that mean? What does that say about them? And I still think you should bring Chuck Schumer as a witness to explain himself. That's just me, though. That's just wild and crazy me. Anybody who says anything like that needs to be doing some explaining. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Sarah. Good to be with you.
Thank you, Congressman Biggs, for coming on the show. I hope to have you back on again soon. If you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, give us a like and a follow and send us to a friend if you like the show. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Sarah Carter Show on your favorite podcast app. We really appreciate it. Follow on Truth at Sarah Carter Official, on X at Sarah Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless President Trump. And God bless the great state of Texas.